Hello, friends. Happy 4th for the Americans. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bonnie, the founder of Angular Nation. For those of you who do know me, I'm sorry for dropping offline for so long. Life has been challenging for me lately, and I suspect many of you can relate. I apologize for the unannounced hiatus. I was working on relaunching architect training and definitely still intend to bring it back updated, hopefully sometime in the near future. There's something more important that I need to do first. Before I could return, I had to take a step back and reflect on the big picture. It's something I do when life gets hard and something I teach when students come to me with complex problems. It was a tough process this time, but hey, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Now I'm back a little tougher, a few more gray hairs. As a teacher, I want to share the most useful things that I've learned along the way in case they help anyone else. I think they will, and that's why I'm here. So, what have I learned? A lot. I'll try to summarize and focus on what's most relevant for my friends on Angular Nation, over 5,000 of you. I love you all. You're the reason I came back. There's a lot to cover, so bear with me. I wrote myself a script to keep it succinct. So if you catch me reading, don't judge me. It's unedited, y'all, and you know how I am, but this is important, so just hear me out. 3 lessons in this video. See if you can catch them all. I love this community, not only because I'm a nerd who loves Angular, although I am, but because of you people. Yeah, you heard me, you nerds. I love you. Don't get all mushy. As diehard Angular fans, 2 things I think we all have in common is that we're intelligent and we're stubborn. We may each feel like a mess at times, but in my professional opinion, these are 2 traits that unite us. And we can do a lot with just those 2 things, fun stuff and money. Over the years, I've been teaching Angular, doing workshops, corporate training, consulting, organizing, and speaking at major Angular conferences around the world. Then I left high-paying consulting to create Angular Nation because I wanted to teach clean architecture to people. I had a beautiful vision for this community, but I still had a lot to learn. I did not make big money like I did consulting, but that was my own fault. I was focused first on helping people and not profit. With over 5,000 of you reaching out to me for help, I got overwhelmed. I'm not a self-promoting, business-savvy person. I'm a teacher, empathetic, too trusting, generous. I ended up dealing with countless scholarship applications from all over the world, other so-called experts promoting themselves with no helpful content, just links to their own external sites, and even people closest to me profiting at my expense. Gotta admit, that one hurt. It was my own fault for allowing all of it, but it taught me a valuable lesson. I cannot help everyone for free. I would. I tried. I can't. There were a few people who did help with direct support, Patreon people and especially AG Grid. We literally would not be here without Niall. Side note, AG Grid is hugely successful and does not need exposure from us. Niall sponsors communities like ours with no ROI so that devs have a place to gather and chat. That's it. He's one of the good ones. If you've enjoyed any of our many free community calls on Angular Nation, please thank AG Grid for helping make that possible. But Niall was never meant to fund Angular Nation entirely, and I've been drowning in too many people asking me for help and not paying me. So to find my way back here, I had to zoom way out and reevaluate my whole purpose. What am I doing here? Should I continue? Should I go back to consulting? I considered selling or just deleting Angular Nation, but I still believe in my vision. I love teaching. I love solving problems and helping people, and I even still love Angular. So what then? I left consulting to focus on teaching. I planned to cover beginner stuff first, but most of the people joining Angular Nation were experienced developers and architects, so covering all the basics would not be a good use of your time. So I pivoted in response to what people asked for. You want architecture? I got you, fam. But listen, enterprise architecture is complex. You got to know the basics before you can build on them. You know some basics. We have to start where you are now. It's hard to do all that in a blog or a video unless I just cover everything and then I'm the docs. So, ready for lesson number 1. If you want to help someone, don't tell them what they need. Ask them what they need. I started with the biggest mistakes that enterprise teams are struggling with and how to avoid them, and that's half of architect training. The other half is office hours. I just sit there and let people ask me questions from my lessons or otherwise anything they want to know about Angular based on what's directly in front of them in their jobs. And it worked. I don't always know the answers, but that's okay. I know where to find them and even know most of the people who wrote the source code. So if I don't know, then we go ask and learn something new together. I learned a lot from and with my students, and that's my superpower. I don't have to know all the answers. So lesson number 1 seems to work well for teaching. Feedback from my students was amazing. I was told the reason it didn't take off was because I didn't do any marketing. I didn't know. So I've got top 10 tips for Angular architects coming. We'll start with that and relaunch architect training with week 1 completely free, but not yet. Let's keep moving. Lesson number 2. This one's from my dad. He taught me many things before he died. One of them is this. He said, Bonnie, if you want to succeed in business, don't go selling stuff to people. Find a need and fill it. I've talked to a lot of people in the past few years, usually starting with Angular and then whatever else comes up in conversations. I've talked to adorable, aspiring baby developers, prominent industry experts, and literally everyone in between, team leads, architects, CTOs, many aspiring GDEs. Without betraying any confidences, I can tell you that we all have 2 more things in common these days. The world around us is a frickin' mess. Also, smart people are often quite sensitive. So, unless we have good support systems around us, many of us are struggling these days. Many of you have opened up to me about personal challenges such as lack of focus, low productivity, confidence, fear of confrontation, massive anxiety, lack of motivation, feeling unimportant or unappreciated. We all have these struggles sometimes, regardless of our experience level. Lately, I've noticed a lot of people dealing especially with focus and low productivity issues. Are you feeling this too? Ask me how I know this. Listen, I just went offline for months, so this is something I know something about. Whether you all admit it to each other or not, so many of you have opened up to me about this that I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. Some of us are very lucky to have supportive spouses, families, and colleagues. Some of us are not. Some of us are alone or feeling lonely. So, lesson 1, if you want to help someone, don't tell them what they need, ask them what they need. Lesson 2, if you want to succeed in business, don't sell shit, find a need and fill it. So we can talk about enterprise architecture, and we will, but that's not what y'all are telling me that you need most right now. So it's time for me to pivot. Brace yourselves. I'm still planning to relaunch Angular Architect training, so if you're waiting for that, stay tuned. First, I'm launching my new support space, like right now. It's not free, but I hope it will be worth the money for some of you. Let's be clear. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a guru. I'm not capable of solving your problems. Trust me, I can't even solve my own. I'm just a teacher, the blind leading the blind, baby. I will be available live at least once a week in several different time zones. We will break into small groups. We'll schedule regular times to meet, talk, and get to know each other. We'll talk about whatever we need to talk about. We'll start with anyone struggling with focus, productivity, or anyone feeling discouraged right now, because that's what everyone is saying to me. So let's talk about that. We can talk about Angular. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. But we're going to talk, and we're going to meet every week in several different time zones. Listen, I was so discouraged, I literally sat down and gave up. I live alone. No one came to save me. But here I am. And if I can do it, so can you. We can do it together. I have never promised to have all the answers, but I can tell you how I went from there to here by myself, and I can help you look for your own answers. And as a group, we can all support and encourage each other. From where I sit, this is what you're asking for, many of you. It's kind of hard for me to make this video. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I'm just listening to you and doing my best to figure out the best path forward for myself, for Angular Nation, and for all of us. If no one responds, that's okay. I'll keep working on architect training because many of you are asking for that. But if this resonates with you, come join me. It's still just me, and I have to pace myself. So this support space will have limited capacity. First come, first serve. If it fills up, I will close it for anyone new because I can't help everyone. If this resonates with you and you could use some support right now, click the thing, come join this group before we hit our max. This is long and we're almost done, but I did promise you 3 lessons and we have 1 left. Business advisors told me that architect training didn't take off because I didn't do any marketing. They said I have to give away something of value for free so people can see what I'm teaching. Fair enough. So I'll release top 10 tips for Angular architects soon. But first, this 3rd lesson is for my friends who are feeling discouraged lately, because I know you're out there. The most intelligent, kind, and sensitive among us are freaking traumatized by the world right now. This affects our mental health, our bodies, and our very valuable, super smart brains. COVID pulled back the curtain on political corruption, authoritarian dictatorships, price gouging, human rights violations, bigots targeting minorities, picking on trans people, bullies run amok, normal people become more and more introverted, and everyone, even those who are kind, They're looking out only for themselves and their own now because it's all they can handle. Anyone alone is very alone. What can anyone say to help, especially to those of us who feel alone in a scary world? This one took me a long time. What's the lesson, Bonnie? I don't know. It was hard, but I think I finally got it. It helped me. I hope it will help you too. I have a lot more lessons to share in our weekly meetings, but for now, I'll leave you with this. It's from an old American children's show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. When I was a child, something bad happened in the news, and Mr. Rogers went on his TV show and spoke to a bunch of scared children. He told us when scary things happen in the world and things seem hopeless, always look for the helpers. In every disaster, if you look, you'll find people rushing into the face of danger to help strangers. In the face of all the bad things happening in the world, remember that there is a strength and beauty in continuing to face our harsh world with kindness. There are still good people, so look for the helpers. If you need some help with focus, productivity, encouragement, life, Angular, whatever, come join my support space. I'll be there live and we'll chat. I don't know all the answers, but this is a place where we're going to figure it out together. So bring your problems. We'll have a study group. We'll find what helps us. Some days I might be the one who needs support, and I'm giving myself permission to admit that to you. Before I go, one last thing. I always forget to mention this, so I put it in my script. In all my years of public, corporate, private teaching, workshops, and mentoring, I've always offered a full, no questions asked, money back guarantee for all my students, always. I can't help you for free, but I will say what I've always said. If you don't find this helpful for whatever reason, I'll give you back your money with no questions asked. I'm very proud to say that all these years, no one has ever asked me for a refund. They all tell me that I've been helpful. But my offer stands, so you have nothing to lose. And if this message does resonate with you, you might have a lot to gain. So come check it out. I think it will be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you there.